like it this better than New Orleans?
Hey, I'm Doug.
And I'm Loretta. Remember when you were young and you didn't think about tomorrow, you just lived for today?
A little while back, we had a pretty good health scare and refocused on each other and living life instead of just living.
So we bought an RV and we sold our house.
We're gonna spend the next 2 years taking a cross-country road trip, and we're taking you
Along for the ride.
Can't make this shit up.
Where are we going?
We're leaving the camper again because the tornado warning on the phone just went off.
Again?
Right after we parked at Kisatchie National Forest.
Ooh, this is going to be a bouncy video.
Yeah.
It's all right. But yeah, so we're abandoning ship again because, you know, the one thing you can't predict when you're camping is the weather everywhere you go. So yeah, they were able to tell us the bad storm was coming, but it was a better situation to leave than to stay where we were. So we're still on the path, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
All right, so we made it down to the Walmart. The wind is howling pretty good.
Power's out.
Power is out on some of the traffic lights.
And it looks like it's out at Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart's power definitely looks out. But we are on the farthest edge of their parking lot from the storm. You can see the difference. Out here it's not too bad. Out there it's getting dark. And about 20 miles that way is where we left the camper. So we're gonna ride this out as best we can.
We packed the lunch. Everything is replaceable. It's a lesson we've already learned.
Yep, it's just stuff.
That's right.
So maybe we'll start truck life instead of van life. Maybe that'll be a thing. I guess we'll let you know a little bit later on.
The major spike in Americans' concern about the availability and the affordability of
Raining sideways, so making the best of it and just kind of hanging out with all of our storm buddies that are kind of
Doing the same
doing
thing.
the same thing and riding out the storm with us.
Lunch is good.
Lunch is good. So maybe the camper will still be there when we get back. We are now out of the tornado warning. The sky is starting to get brighter.
Rain is still coming down pretty heavy.
Still raining pretty good, yep. But the wind has died down a lot too, so.
Less scary out.
Less scary. It had changed directions on us before, and there's like a circular cloud over our head, so that was cool. If it does this the next time we check into a campground, I'm done with this lifestyle. I'm going back to Sticks and Brick's house. Going back to work. Not doing it. So we are going to head back to the forest.
Yeah.
And
see if we have a house.
See if we still have a house to live in. We are pulling up to the camper now.
Site's a little wet.
Yeah, everything's definitely soggy.
But
There's no massive trees down.
it appears to be in one piece.
It's definitely in one piece. I don't know if it's got any extra pieces added to it now, but so far so good. And how's that view for a front yard? I mean, so it's a little rainy today. Survived another tornado warning. Maybe we'll have a campfire, throw some s'mores or something. I don't know. We're gonna make the best of it. Figure it out. Definitely have a beer though. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Rain has finally stopped. The plan was to get here, get set up, have a campfire since we're out in the woods again, and we can actually do that. Which brings us to the newest segment of our show called Come Hell or High Water. Because come hell or high water, I am having a campfire tonight. Which brings me to one of the essentials that we always have when we're camping. Easy light charcoal. When the kids want a fire and you don't want to listen to it, or a day like this where the wood's all wet, you need the fire for cooking or anything like that, put the match light in there, light it, throw the wood on top, you get that nice hot bed of coals, keeps things going for you. And it helps keep the smoke down because it has a nice hot bed of coals in the bottom. So add that to your list of stuff to pack. Now we're camping.
Now we're camping with our espresso.
Roughing. All right, boondocking, round 2. 7 p.m. Full charge on the batteries. Let's see how tonight goes. All right, we made it through the night with the batteries. It did get pretty low, but they go all the way through the night with no battery alarm. So we fired up the generator this morning for about 15 minutes. It did read full, but then Less than an hour later, it was reading empty again, so we fired up the generator. We're going to let that run while we do our morning hike. And we are definitely going to be looking into some sort of solar system for the future. Did a brief look up on that this morning, and there's enough information out there to make your head spin. So it's going to require a little bit more time than I wanted to give it this morning. So we decided to go on a hike instead and just use the generator to charge the battery, so when we get back, everything's nice and full. But this is definitely more our speed with camping.
Yeah.
Lagatha's loving it too. She's not really a city girl. Much prefers to be out in the woods, running around, getting her hands dirty. So we're gonna go get the dog muddy.
All right, so I just had the coolest thing just happen, and as it was happening, I'm thinking in my head, this is terrible. This is horrible. This is that moment that Sean, this is for you, has been talking about, that he makes fun of me for all of the time. So we're sitting out here at the picnic table, and our camp host back here in the Class A walks over, and he recognized us from YouTube. Says, "Oh, you guys are YouTubers." Well, yes, we are. Thanks for noticing. That's freaking awesome. However, I haven't showered in 3 days. My hair is a mess. I've got a rag around my head trying to hide the gross. And why haven't I showered in 3 days? Because we're having boondocking issues. We're running away from our second tornado in 2 weeks' time, and I'm not presentable. So, note to self, always be presentable.
Dumbo, stop recording.
Hands free.
You're just jealous because I have the cool gadgets.
Do jazz hands stuff.
I can't, I'll drop the GoPro. So other than my wife's incessant poking at me,
I don't poke.
you hear that serenity when she stops talking? Do you know why it's so serene out there? Because the generator's finally off.
After 3 days?
3 days.
3 days. 3 days we think we figured out the whole problem.
Yep, so
We think.
on top of the fuse burning out at the gator farm, I guess that ran the batteries dead enough that it damaged the batteries, or they were going bad or something. I don't know, they were 4 or 5 years old already. Charged them up. We got here to Kisatchie. We went on our hike. Left the generator running for 2 hours, and
Everything was good.
everything was great.
We
You know,
went
the
to
battery
bed.
was reading full when we went to bed.
Yeah, like we had a great night. We were by the fire, hung out,
Really relaxing,
and it was quiet.
nice and quiet. And then the next morning, the batteries were stone dead again. They're not taking a charge. And we went to the local hardware store, and they had 3 batteries that were...
Larger than the ones we had in there.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
We got 3 210 reserve capacity batteries, which is different from amp hours, which
Thanks
I didn't...
for changing that.
Yeah,
on
didn't
batteries.
realize that, so I'd been thinking we had 140 amp hour batteries, and we had 140 reserve capacity, which is totally different. It's kind of like when they call it a king-size Snicker, and you open it and there's 2 mini Snickers in it.
Got nothing. All I know, we have power.
So everything works. Loretta was able to take a shower, so that makes her happier, which in turn makes me happier. And the dog is now sleeping comfortably in her chair
Next to the fire.
next to the fire, and we're
Above the lake.
listening to the waterfall, watching... We're not sure if it's a turtle or an alligator swim across the lake. Turns out boondocking, when you're towing a 40-foot camper behind you, it can be more difficult than it needs to be. It was actually a lot easier
In this-
when we were doing the suburban life. You know,
Guess what?
way back before van life was even a thing. We did it in a suburban, and it was way easier.
It's an adventure.
It's definitely an adventure,
Not always a good adventure.
but an adventure nonetheless. So there's 2 things I want to show you guys. Came to Kisatchie, the hopes of finding a Bigfoot. Didn't think it was going to happen, but we were prepared. Earlier today, we went out to the Kincaid section of Kisatchie. It was closed. Didn't know why. Yesterday, we went shopping. Loretta ran into Walmart. I ran down to go to try to find solar panels. Figured we'll divide and conquer, make it efficient. Asked her to pick me up some beef jerky. So we had Sasquatch bait. This is what she came back with.
Fail.
Generic
No
jerky.
jack links.
Everyone knows if you're trying to find Bigfoot, you need jack links. And then, look what we saw today. Kincaid is closed because of Bigfoot. So we had a shot at it, but wrong beef jerky.
Instead, he's 6 miles down the road, and Doug missed it.
Never gonna see him. So we're leaving.
Out of here in the morning.
Kicking my ball down the street, popping my balloon, and I'm leaving.
You could stop fratting now.
How do we always end up on dirt roads?
Because Google knows I like an adventure.
It's like a special checkbox on your phone for weirdest way to possibly get there.
I don't know, but Google always sends us down a dirt road when we do it from my phone. Always.
Go
I don't know how we got.
There's nothing here but trees.
Right there.
Oh, there it
Found
is.
it. It doesn't appear to be dirt.
Oh yeah, it looks, at least it looks
Continue
paved.
for 9 miles.
All right, that's a win. Stop throwing rocks at my own truck. So we say all the time that life on the road is all about the people you meet and not always just about the stops that you're making.
No.
While we were over at Kisatchie, we met probably one of the coolest camp hosts that we've come
Ever.
across
He
so
was
far
really
on the
awesome.
road. This guy Craig is the camp host over by Lake Valentine.
And he recognized us.
Yes. He actually came over and said, "You guys are YouTubers, right?" So we've officially got our first
Fan on the road.
fan on the road. And then it turns out we are in turn going to be fans of his because he's actually involved with a group called A Year to Volunteer. They've also got a YouTube channel out. Really cool group. We watched one of their episodes last night after Craig told us about it. And what they do is they put together a group of RVers who meet up at a spot. They pick a place where they're going to do a project.
Mostly state parks.
Mostly state parks that can accept volunteer labor. And they'll go through after like a storm or a natural disaster or something like that, and they'll go in and do all the repairs that need
And help
doing.
clean up. Yeah.
Clean up all the storm damage and build new sections of the park, add fences, things like that. As soon as that video comes out, we'll put it in the description for our video so you guys can meet Craig and also kind of get to know A Year to Volunteer. They're a really cool group. We'll probably end up signing up with them at some point in the near future once we finish checking off a few more bucket list things. But right now we're up in northern Louisiana.
Yes.
On our way to our final stop in Louisiana.
My most excited number one.
After we're done here, we're actually headed to a place that you probably wouldn't think of when somebody says, "Hey, you know, here's a great spot to go on vacation." I know I didn't think this state would have never popped into my head. I can tell you that. And do something I said I was never going to do in my big boy truck my dream truck that it took me 10 years of labor and love to get to.
I'm excited about it.
I know you are. We've got another 8 miles to go down an almost paved road that Loretta's phone is sending us down. Putting the new shocks and airbags to the test though. So that's
I mean, it's good data in that.
good data. We're getting good data. The airbags were worth it.
It's an adventure. I just zoomed out on the map.
We could have taken the frickin' interstate right from the campground, right?
We're getting on the interstate in 3 miles.
You make fun of my expensive GPS, but it's never once sent us face first down a mountain.
For real, we're gonna get on I-20.
The same one we got off of by the campground?
Yeah,
That same I-20?
We're gonna go down I-20 at 1 mile.
That's cool. You know that was like right next to the campground, right? Yeah. You're the directions here. There it
In a quarter
is.
mile, your destination will be on the right.
Look at that. We're not the only ones here either. Anyone recognize this stretch of road? No? Let's go show you where this is. This is where Bonnie and Clyde
met their demise.
Most romantic place ever. It's our road trip. Doesn't have to make sense to you. way out of Louisiana, there's just one more final place that we want to show you. It's about 7 miles away from the monument.
Turn left at the stop sign.
Oh, look at that. My GPS is sending us down a paved road. It's about 1.5 miles from the interstate, so there's no dirt roads to go bouncing your truck down. And if you're going to make it to the monument, it's a must-see stop. So let's go check this out. Being an outlaw, you're going to work up an appetite. And 7 miles before they were gunned down, Bonnie and Clyde stopped for a BLT and fried bologna. The New Jersey equivalent would be pork roll and a BLT. The restaurant or cafe that they stopped in back in the day is now the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum.
Right. All right, so we just left the Bonnie and Clyde Museum. We met with Perry. Some of his facts don't match what you're told on Hollywood facts are, which was really kind of cool.
Yep, you want to talk about a wealth of knowledge on the subject, the owner Perry is like...
Hands down, he was really good. Props to us for being pretty knowledgeable ourselves. But he has got quite an array of photos and...
he's got a collection in there.
Yeah, quite a great collection.
And they even host a Bonnie and Clyde festival every year, Memorial Day weekend. Really cool looking thing. We're going to try and get back for that.
Right. And they let the dog into the museum, which was really awesome because we didn't realize that there was a museum there when we headed out to the location of the ambush, and we just stumbled upon it, and I walked in, we checked, they let Lack at the inn to the
really
little
cool.
museum.
So thank you, Perry,
really
for that.
Cool.
Really cool stuff in there, so definitely if you're in the area, go check it out. Like I said, 1.5 miles off I-20, good little leg stretching detour. And
perfect.
You've heard of Bonnie and Clyde, now go find out some like real facts
about them. And it was cheap enough to get in. I mean, it was $8 for each of us to get in, and we spent 45 minutes there.
Yeah, a lot of memorabilia, like got some movie memorabilia too, like some of the stuff like the Highwaymen is the most recent one I can think of.
Right, but there was plenty of other movies about Bonnie and Clyde done even before that.
Yeah,
some that I didn't even know were out.
So really cool stuff, really cool shop, really cool owner. Definitely check it out.
Check it out.
But now we are gonna head back to the camper and head out to this secret location, G14 classified.
On our vacation from a vacation.
Right.
Sure.
After the last 2 weeks, I need a vacation from our vacation.
It's an adventure. Nothing says I love you like going to a death scene. So unlike the real Bonnie and Clyde, cheers to making it out of this alive.